He's from Mind Hong Kong. I just want to highlight again the incredible work that Mind Hong Kong is doing at the moment, not only through education and awareness, but right now in their response to the Taipei fires. Just as we said earlier, there's information around here, there's QR codes if you want to donate, if you want to help out, have a little look and we can get that sorted out. It'll also go out again in the end of event email, so everyone will get an email and have all the information in it. Around the room, yep, you found all that. It is now my pleasure to welcome Michael from Mind Hong Kong to share more about their work and what some more support looks like for our community.
Sure, yeah. Thank you very much. Pretty nervous here, having so many people looking at me, just one person here. So yeah, I just want to start off with by saying that on behalf of Mind Hong Kong, just my deepest condolences to everyone who was affected by the Taipei fire. And we do have 17. We do have a task force of 70 people: clinical psychologists, counseling psychologists, our social worker, and also the wellbeing practitioner who are on the site right now to help those who are in need. So a big shout out to them, and yeah, do support us if you can. I just want to share a little bit about the mental health landscape in Hong Kong. We heard a lot about how mental health support, different stories, physical health, mental health. And just want to start by saying, I guess we all agree that there's no mental health without physical health, and there's no physical health without mental health. I think they're all interconnected. That's one of the key messages that I've heard from throughout the morning. We did a research earlier this year. We talked to about 1,000 Hong Kong people through a survey, and we found out that about 13% of the population, estimated about 30% of the Hong Kong adults, suffered from a clinical level of depression, and about 9.2% of people suffered from clinical level of anxiety, clinical level of anxiety. And taken together, about 16% of people have both depression and or anxiety. So 16% may not sound a lot, but if you think about it in the Hong Kong population, that is about 1 million Hong Kong people who are suffering from this level of depression or anxiety. About 1 in 6 people, right? So I don't know how many people of us here, but I think there are about like quite a lot of people who, if we look at it in population level, then that is the number. Yeah, younger adult also seems to be affected the most by worse mental health outcomes. I guess probably because we're working, we have a lot of things to take care of. And yeah, but if we look at the numbers of that particular survey that we did, men seems to be doing better compared to women, right? So men have slightly better depression and anxiety scores. However, I don't think that paints the whole picture, right? I think I did some research last night. We looked at what does it mean, the implication behind those numbers, and I found out that actually men commit suicide at a lot higher rate than women. In the States, about 1-to-4 ratio. So 1 women suicide would mean like 4 male commit suicide. In Japan, it's about 2-to-1, so two male compared to 1 female. In Hong Kong, about similar, about 2-to-1 as well. So I guess that's the reason why we tend to have a slightly better scores in terms of like depression scales or anxiety scales is because we tend to externalize a lot of our symptoms, right? So it's been researched that men tends to drink more substance abuse compared with women. So yeah, that's the main difference, right? So perhaps the way we present our mental health issues are very different from women. So that seems a little bit pessimistic, right? So we have higher suicide rates, and of course one of the one barriers of why males don't really get help is because of stigma. I guess many people would think that seeking help is a sign of weakness. Being seen as someone who is lazy or can't really be capable of handling their matters, right? But I think having this community here really helps a lot. So we have people like opening up and talking about their issues. We heard a lot about how different communities would give resources and etc. So I think these kind of environment do help a lot of giving an open space and safe space for men to express their emotions and feelings. And in fact, my work in Mind Hong Kong, I do a lot of research, and when we talk about help seeking, one of the key points that I want to bring is that we do have a lot more females seeking for help in our free services compared with men. I think the ratio is about 3 to 1. But I guess, but then, the key message that I want to bring here is when you look at the recovery rates of between men and women, there's no difference. So I think it's not really about your gender or your or who you are, your age, but it's about coming out and ask for help when you think you need. In Mind Hong Kong, we provide a lot of free psychological support to people who are living in Hong Kong. It's 6 to 8 sessions, completely free. You do it online, you do it face to face, bilingual, trilingual, English, Mandarin, and Cantonese. These are all like available resources that we as an organization would like to bring it back to the community of Hong Kong. So if you want to speak to one of us, you can seek help. There's some flyers and pamphlets over there. You can take a look and read through what we're doing. And that's about it, really. I think. Oh, actually, I just kind of screen cap of this. This is from one of the lab that I used to work in. It's a Hong Kong U psychology department laboratory. We do a lot of community research. One of the things that inspired me a lot today is that how do we get better mental health and physical health? And I think this is called the health hexagon model. I can share it after the event. So to have good mental health, there are 6 things that perhaps we can do every day or on a regular basis. So number 1 is sleep. I think some of us mentioned a lot having to sleep. Being in touch with nature. Again, there's so many greeneries in Hong Kong. We can always go and visit. Exercise. Do some runnings, rugby, whatever team sports that you do or individual sports that you do. It's going to help you a lot along the way. Finding meaning in life. That's something that perhaps we don't really be in touch with. You have a meaning, if a purpose, then sometimes having a bad day, having some bit of suffering is okay, because we know that we're working towards something that's greater than what we're seeing right now. Relationships, community, so having this kind of relationship with other people, having friends, if you're struggling, talk to someone that you know, and of course having a good diet. If you eat well, you sleep well, then things tend to go better compared with you can sleep well and you eat like not very well every day. So yeah, I guess my key message is having a good mental health and physical health is really important, especially for men, because we have a lot of stigma about ourselves. But try to throw these stigmas away and try to open up and seek help if you can. Yeah, so this is sort of my short conversation and open up for questions.
Just on that, and to emphasise on the work that Mind Hong Kong do, a few of us have actually done our mental health first aid training with Mind,
Yes.
Which is an amazing course. And while I know that it doesn't qualify me to be able to talk to people professionally, it gives you a bit of an insight on how to help people and where to go and where to send people. So if anyone in this room feels like they want to do a bit more, Mind Hong Kong do offer really, really good mental health first aid training. If you're at Valley, I know we're looking to try and train more people each year, as I'm sure other clubs will. So yeah, I just think if you're looking for more, there is more out there, and it's really effective. And especially in this space we've spoken about today, there is a lot of things you can do to help, even if you aren't a professional.
Just want to go back to part of the research that we did. So we asked people, when you're facing life changes and life challenges, life-changing events, who would you seek out for help? So the top 3 were family, friends, and partners, and then professionals came fourth. So although I kind of work for the NGO who advocate for having more people to come out to have professional support, but I think what's really important is that we need to equip ourselves to first open up, to seek help, but also to equip ourselves with different skills and mindset. To when people come for you to help, you have the capacity to oh, that's okay. We can talk about it, or we can just have the knowledge of where to give help. If someone who's suffering from having a bad time at work or having a bit of depressed feelings, we have to be the people have to be ready to accept these kind of emotions, just from themselves and from others as well. Yeah.
Thank you very much, Michael.
Thank you.
Before we wrap up, has anyone got any questions around Mind Hong Kong, what they offer, what they're currently doing with Typo, and how you can help?
Yes.
You mentioned top 3 friends, family, partners.
Yeah.
If someone who's struggling comes to you, what are some tips you would give to someone who's listening, how to kind of assist in that conversation?
So the people
Someone who's struggling, yeah. If you're
Yeah,
a
yeah.
partner, friends, or family, what are the sort of key things you'd say for us to kind of do and keep in mind to facilitate that conversation?
give space. Give space to whoever is sharing. I think someone mentioned that men are very problem focused, right? I always want to give like a solution to problems that my wife I can tell them. But sometimes it's not about that. Sometimes it's about acknowledging the suffering that the person is telling you, acknowledging that. But also you need to be aware that we're all humans, and sometimes we need to know like the boundaries. If someone who shares with you and you think that maybe that's a bit too much for me, you have to while acknowledging their suffering, you have to tell them, hey, I'm sorry, I think I can't really help. I need to divert you to someone else who can give you better help. There are lots of resources. Sometimes they're like paid, sometimes they're free, sometimes they're more expensive, of course. But there's always something available for people out there. So I think that's the key. You have to be, give them space, be empathetic, but also knowing that we're all humans and we cannot take everything as well. Yeah.
If someone was to reach out to a professional, how would they go about it? Would they be able to contact Mind?
Yes.
Or would they have to be to doctors?
Yeah.
What sort of avenues someone have to go to
Right.
if they were to talk to
Can I have all the flyers actually? Mind just handing me one of the Mind Hong Kong flyers. Should go on the table. Yes. Can I have this? Thank you. Yeah. Thanks. So the team that I'm working with is called IACT. So it's called Improving Access to Community Therapies. We provide free 6 to 8 sessions to people who are suffering from mild to moderate level of anxiety and depression. Of course, there's some screening criteria for people who are eligible for the service, but there's no need for referrals. You can just register online, and one of our colleagues will contact you in a couple of days or a week or so. So they're always, so for us, this is the free mental health support that we provide to people in Hong Kong. As long as you're living in Hong Kong, then you're eligible for our service. Well, of course, there's some if your problem is not related to other severe mental health disorder, then we're happy to help. Yeah. Thank you. Yes.
I suppose in traditional kind of like Asian cultures, you've got common talk about emotions a lot, right? A lot of Chinese cultures anyway. Is that something you notice in your work, or is that changing over generations?
Well, I can't really. I'm also training to be one of the practitioners, right? So I'm also seeing some clients, and to my surprise, I have more male clients than female clients at the moment. And yes, of course, there are some barriers and cultural stereotype about seeking help for mental health issues. But I feel like, even though it's really sad, but from the type of tragedy, there are a lot more social worker, psychologists, and counselors going for help, and people actually seeking for help in that domain as well. So I think it's slowly changing. We're not quite there yet, but we're slowly changing. And to your point, I think one of the interesting things that when we talk about culture, right? We talk about Western and Eastern culture, Hong Kong and other Western culture. I think the way that we express love and support are very different. So, for example, very traditionally, a Hong Kong mom would I cut the fruits for you, or I make you some soup, and that's their way to show their affection. And perhaps in other culture, maybe having talking to you and having a face-to-face conversation is more a sign of affection. But I think that we're slowly getting there. We're slowly transitioning to having a more open conversation. But there are just different ways in different generations of how people show their love and affection. Yeah.
Nice. Cool. Well, thank you very much, Michael. Thank you to everybody else who's spoken today. And a massive thank you to Sonia and Amy and the Phenomenally Pink team for putting this on. Takeaways from me: get checked, look after your mates, check on your mates. Don't wait till it's too late. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Please.